Hi, this is Sabrina, and I'm going to teach you how to make the best, most amazing blueberry lemon glaze scones. Okay, so if you want a hard scone that's really dense and hard, then stop this video because that is not what this is about. This is about soft, a little bit crunchy on the outside and soft and moist on the inside. And the key to this is really cold butter. So here I'm going to show you my freezer. I always store my butter in the freezer and only take out what I really need. And so we're going to use unsalted butter today. And what I do is this recipe requires 5 ounces of chopped butter, and I actually chop it and then stick it in the freezer until I'm ready to use it. Meanwhile, mix the dry ingredients, which is 2 cups of all-purpose flour, sifted, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, and 3 tablespoons of sugar. Mix that all up, get the 5 tablespoons of butter, toss it in, and then start cutting it in. I used a pastry cutter, but you can use 2 knives or 2 forks, and ultimately you're gonna try to get it so it's sort of like this mealy mixture and well worked in. I don't use my hands because your hands will warm up the butter and start to melt it. Create a little well in the middle, pour in 1 cup of milk. You could use soy, you could use, I think even maybe buttermilk. Low fat, it could be half and half. The main thing is not to overwork it. The more you work it, the tougher your scone will be. So just basically incorporate, but we don't need it to be this perfect blend mixture. A few lumps are just fine. Luckily, it's blueberry season, so there's lots of great fresh blueberries. And here you're going to add 1 cup of fresh blueberries. I wash them and I drain it and I make sure they're not damp at all. I dread it when blueberry season is over. I've been told that if you use frozen blueberries, that it will get that sort of bleedy look. From here, I plop the sort of batter onto a wax paper just for cleanliness. Just makes it easier. You can toss it or compost it later. Put a little flour, and then I'm trying to shape the loaf. You want it to create a rectangle. I find it helpful to have a little flour on your hands just to get it less sticky. These runaway blueberries. Create a rectangular loaf, about 12 inches by 3 inches by 1.25 inches. Going back to the frozen blueberry option, I think you might be able to use frozen blueberries if you maybe flour them before. Maybe they won't bleed that way. I'll let you experiment. So when I finally get my loaf the right shape and size, I take my knife and I put a little bit of flour on it so it goes more easily in. So I'm getting squares, and then from the squares getting triangles. The goal is to get 8 triangles, and from that I then plop it onto an ungreased baking pan. In my case, I put a little bit of parchment paper. I find that handy. From there, I then brush the tops of the scone with some milk and then put it into a 400-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes until it's lightly browned. At some point, I think for me at the 12-minute mark, I actually flipped my scones around so it would brown more evenly. And while that's happening, I have my son making the lemon glaze, and this is really what makes it fabulous. You're taking a 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice, mixing it in with 1 cup of confectioner's sugar, powdered sugar. Mix that up. Add a tablespoon of butter and also the lemon zest. Stick that in a microwave and make sure your bowl is microwave safe. Mix it up. And so you see how it's kind of liquidy still here? I think I'm going to add a little bit more of powdered sugar so I get the right consistency. How does that taste? Yowza. Perfect. Okay. Really good. Let's see if these are ready. Da, da, da. Okay, we want the bottom to be golden. Ta-da! Perfect. And I let them cool down on a rack.
Oh shoot. Now people are gonna see the hovered cup and comment on that.
So now we're gonna glaze, and so it's kind of like the consistency of honey. It's up to you if you want to dribble it on, or alternatively you could get a brush and brush it on. It's up to you. Glazing while they're still hot is not a sin. Still comes out fabulous, so don't worry. Dean, they're ready.
Good.
Thanks for helping me. Can you break one open?